room.
Hello. This time we didn't stay away for long, just 1 week, and that's because we have some news. Two
Not
things,
good.
not good, just news. Two things to talk about. Well, one of them can be good news because it's about Red, the core book for the Red rules, is now a free download at our store. It's not anything new. The book itself has been around for some time,
But
but
now it's free.
yeah. And why is it free? Well, because I decided that since we are now releasing a few former Wretched settings as full games, but with summarized Red rules, which we called MicroRed, even though those books are meant to be standalone, if you want to check out the full rules, maybe if you have some doubts about something because they are summarized, well, you can just pick up. But I think that in most cases you probably won't need it. But just because you might have some doubts about something, it's better to cover for it like that. So that's the first thing that we needed to
So
talk about.
red is now free.
Yeah, I'm not going to show that because, well, if you want to see it, just click on it and take it. Uh, the other thing is the new game. The new game is, well, not new, but renewed, kind of. Orbital Decay. Orbital Decay was released about, I don't know, 1 year and a half ago or something like that. At the
That's a
time,
long time.
yeah, for us
In
it's a,
red room time, it's an
yeah,
eternity.
eternity. The original one was, as you probably know, a Ratchet setting. Not just a Ratchet setting, it was a source book for new Ratchet New Flash.
Supposed to be between New Flash and Space, right?
Yes, kind of. So it's a hard sci-fi, but not the usual hard sci-fi because it's biotech. So it's hard sci-fi, but with a biotech style. I kept that, even if you don't want to use it. I kept that. It's still connected to Red. In this case, not Red to New Flash. In this case, the Red New Flash, not the Wretched New Flash, which was also released kind of recently, months ago. So there's still a connection with New Flash. The setting is still there. The corporations from New Flash are still there. Um, the gear is kind of the same, not exactly the same, but there are some things that were used. There are references to the timeline from New Flash and beyond until Orbital Decay. Orbital Decay is 100 and a few years more after what is the current day in New Flash, which means it's about 170 years in the future from present day real world. But I added some more stuff to it. So there are more tables which can be used to just ignore the setting and create a different thing. Uh, you can even ignore the biotech if you want. There's cybertech there, so you can ignore the biotech. Though you'll have to do some changes to some of the tables because there are always references to biotech stuff. Okay, so I think we should
You
show
want
it.
to do it?
Okay, here it is. By the way,
Virtue signaling,
yes,
whatever.
a bit of virtue signal, not really, but so we mentioned before that in these micro-red games, I was only going to use public domain and stock art. And even if you are thinking that in this case I didn't do it, I actually did because this is supposed. So the cover, not just the cover, the interior art is supposed not to be not to be AI. I can't guarantee it is not because it's difficult to distinguish between digital art and AI. But I checked this all of these illustrations, not all of, some of them are commissioned art for New Flash that I used here as well. But the cover and the, I don't know, about 20 more pieces in there are from a website called FreePic. I use it to create AI, and so I am a premium subscriber. But there are also there's also stock art there. So I chose only premium stock art that is not AI. And I checked. There's the author has a website. He sells his own art. So
It's
did
the same person, right? That you end up using. So the art is mostly from the same artist.
yeah, it's almost everything from the same artist except the stuff that I used from New Flash. I'll show the name after this. Um, so am I sure that he doesn't use AI to do his own art? No, I would say that he uses, but probably changed it. Okay, virtue signaling done. Now let's show the inside of the book. Okay, the guy is called Titi Luatong, so he's from Taiwan or something. Okay, so the introduction isn't changed from the original. It's basically the same thing. The themes and the subjects are the same. The inspirations are the same: Alien and Event Horizon and Outland and all of that. Again, we can just show you a little bit of the rules part. As you can see, this is much shorter than Red. It's summarized as we mentioned before. Still, I think there's information here, enough for you to understand. The archetypes are reduced in this one as well. So you have warrior, and then the warrior meaning that you don't have to actually be a warrior with a sword. You're not supposed to be that. Of course, warriors here are soldiers and all that, and mercenaries. Specialist, you can be several things, like an astronaut or a pilot. Scholars are scholars, of course. Leaders are leaders, and there's not much to say. There's an optional class here, or archetype, which is the android or bioroid. So they were already in the original Orbital Decay from Wretched New Flash. And then we have the skills and all that stuff. As you can see, most of the illustrations have the same look.
And I like that framing, by the way.
Oh yeah, the frame is also interesting. Also from the same place. It's stock art. So not everything is stock art here. I'll probably, for example, this is by Rob McEconomicon. This was made for New Flash. Of course, this is years in the future, but hey, this is art, so it's even if the technology itself would change, it must look the same. So there are some new things here, as for example, an augmentation mishap table. When you roll a critical one on a when using an augmentation, either biotech or cybertech, that doesn't matter, or when you are having a surgery to implant it. And okay, so the spaceships are the same. Spaceship tables, wear and tear rules. I haven't used them yet in Red, but they are here for this. Okay, as you can see, these illustrations here are from
for the equipment.
Yeah. But the other ones are fitting for this setting. Of course, in this case, I couldn't use public domain because public domain is always looks like pulp and not really for a for this kind of thing, for hard sci-fi. So
Are we streaming? I think we're streaming.
we are streaming.
Someone just said yes, just put a comment.
Oh, okay. Well, I forgot. Uh, Probably we're streaming.
Well,
Maybe we are streaming with a very strange name, like Cocktail
yes.
Hour at the Red Room. We're not drinking cocktails, but well, I didn't notice that. I just chose one of the options, and I forgot that it was a streaming option. Well, okay, there are no cocktails here. I'm not going to.
It's not cocktail hour yet. We need to wait 1 hour at least.
So,
So I'll just carry on.
where are we streaming? By the way, is this?
YouTube.
Oh, YouTube. Okay,
Because I see the little squatch and I see the little sign from YouTube.
let me check that. That's an interesting thing. Yeah, cocktails without cocktails. Cool.
The show must go on. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so let's proceed. Psionic talents are also from New Flash. They are optional, of course. You can use them or not. Then bizarre adversaries. Some of them are also from New Flash. There are some not supernatural. The new Flash is there are no supernatural
Mhm.
creatures, just weird. So, for example, the Machinatories are here, but these Machinatories are strictly alien in the Sicari as well. So there's no confusion about their origins. They are aliens. They have some special abilities, but it's because they are aliens, not because they are supernatural creatures. The chapter on game mastering Orbital Decay has also a few new things. I expanded the tables, so you can use this as a not just as a standalone, but also disconnected from New Flash if you want to. So the first things that we find here are stuff that used to create the environment of this kind of stuff. So sounds you can roll here for weird sounds or unnerving sounds, smells as well, sights, and gory encounters, and more gory encounters. The kind of thing that you'll find in a space horror movie. Another illustration that comes from New Flash. This one is by Chris Villarosa. You have an NPC generator with lots of options here. So you have the archetype and the major attribute, the stuff that you use when you're creating a new character. This was already in the original book, just names. If you need to pick up names are for characters or for ships or for call signs for characters, you can just look it up here. I didn't put numbers because it would be a long table, so to avoid many pages with hundreds of entries, I just put them like this.
Yeah, especially because the idea is for these books not to be too
Yeah.
long.
So this one is already a little bit longer than I wanted. It's 192 pages, almost 200, but to include the setting, it had to be a little bit more than 100. I'll try to do some of the others shorter. Okay, the spaceship generator has also been improved or at least increased. You have tables for ship size, function, defenses, weapons, power source, general condition of the ship, which is kind of useful in this case. Most ships will probably be not really good looking. So you roll a 1d8, and a new one, a new ship would only be on a roll of 7. The crew size, the passenger capacity, additional features that can be stuff that you can use for adding bonuses or applying penalties. The same thing with the quirks. Well, the quirks are mostly for penalties. You have also the same kind of tables for orbital stations, and a short description of what the places are and the places inside an orbital station. This one is also something that the ships don't have corporate affiliation, which if you are using the new Flash setting, you can use the names here, or you can just ignore the names and go with just the description. You can ignore. So if you roll a 1, it's a Takeda Technologies. If you are doing this with some other game or whatever, just choose a biotech company and ignore the name. And then there's a colony generator. Even though there are descriptions of colonies later in the setting part, but this is to create new colonies or new space stations. And you also have scavenging tables, because this is the kind of game where you will need to do some scavenging. Then there's an adventure generator. It follows the same topics that you usually use in games: themes and atmosphere, what is happening, so past events. There are some subtables here for some past events. Locations, encounters, MacGuffins, plot twists, motivations for the NPCs, some relationships to the NPCs, complications, challenges, and obstacles. Then you have here a corporate faction generator that can be applied to the adventure generator. There are several things after that you can use to complement the adventure generator. So these plot hooks are very short plot hooks for side missions or just small stuff that can happen. This here is basically moral dilemmas that you can integrate into the story, where you can use the spectrum of humanity actively without even preparing anything. So you have,
I think that's problematic.
yes, of course. And then these illustrations are pretty good. Also from New Flash. I can't remember the name of the guy who did it, but I quite like them. I love to use more of his work. Now the part here doesn't change from the original one. This is the timeline, so this connects New Flash with the current days of Orbital Decay. This is the cover of New Flash, of course. This chapter here tells the story of what happens between 30 years in the future, which is current day New Flash, until 100 years after New Flash, which is current day Orbital Decay. So there's a description of the New World powers. There's an Asian Alliance, there's an Oceanic Forum, which is Oceania, there's an Euro-African Union, Southern Conference, American Federation, obviously the future of the US, the Turkic Federation. These are the colonies, the solar colonies. There are no extra solar colonies. So, and the United Nations. And the United Nations, they are the bad guys, of course.
Of course.
They must be the bad guys. This is also taken from, in this case, not just, actually, in this case, not taken from New Flash, because there are no references to New Flash, in New Flash to the United Nations, but from Darker. They are the bad guys there as well. Well, there are many bad guys in Darker, of course. The corporations are the corporations in New Flash. Nothing different here. The colonies and orbitals, this chapter here has a general description of how people live there, and then a series of entries for different colonies. And then we have plot hooks a little bit more developed. These ones, they are almost one-shot adventures, though they have no rules references here, so you'll have to pick up some stats from other places. These are the maps, the world map and the solar system map, with references to the colonies, where they are and all that. And the usual, the character sheet is always the same, and the only thing that changes is the logo, because I'm lazy. Well,
And someone that character sheet, so
I'm lazy, at least when it comes to character sheets. And yes, someone did a great job doing the character sheet a while ago, and I'm going to use that one until someone else does another. Again, so Orbital Decay is free for purchases of purchasers. Yeah, that's a difficult word to say.
Buyers.
Buyers of the original one. Um, and if you want to buy it by itself, it's a little bit less expensive than the original one. It's the original one was $8.50, and this one is $8. I'm trying to also maintain the prices of these MicroRed games since they are not new. They were.
Mhm.
I'm not making them right now. I'm just adjusting some stuff, so I'll keep the prices lower than the original one. So $8 for a hard sci-fi biotech game, about 190 pages long. And if you purchase the other one, it's free. Of course, you might as well purchase the other one and get the both.
Don't say that to people. I know they can, but just don't.
That's up to you. If you want to pay more, 50 cents more, you can have both.
And you can have two games, yes. Two versions.
But if you want just this one, well, it's $8. And there's something more to say. I guess we can
You want to
already.
talk about the news? What's to
There
come?
are there are some news that I
Type of
was.
things to come, yes.
So last week I was. I don't know if we talked about that, probably about what we're going to do next with MicroRed, and I may have mentioned, but I'm not sure if
Yes, I
I'm
think you may have mentioned space.
possible. So
Yes, we're going to look at space,
we were
yes.
talking about doing a MicroRed, and we are still going, but it's not exactly the same thing as we mentioned last week. So on our Discord, I was talking about this, and Roger Jones told me that he has a setting that is for pulp sci-fi that he hasn't published. It's a campaign he played it with his group, and he suggested that we could use it for a Flash Gordon style new game. Or in this case, it's not going to be something that we have already published. It's not a Ratchet setting, so it will be a new game for which I will use the full red rules. I'm still going to do a MicroRed thing from space, but since we are going to release that game that is Flash Gordon like, I changed the original idea. What I am going to do in MicroRed format is something else that we did for space, but it's not the book itself, not space itself. It was an expansion for space. I guess we can call it
Mhm.
that. It's called Void Haven Outpost. It's in this case, it's not Flash Gordon style. It's Babylon 5 style. So it's a large orbital station where things happen, and where all things happen. In this case, it will be a short setting, a small setting,
Mhm.
not short, but a small setting. The size of the book, I don't know it yet, but it will be a small because it will be contained in that place. We played that, and I think we had some fun with that. So
Mhm.
I'm going to do this. I might probably I will have to do some changes to at least the visual style of it, because unless I find some
Yeah,
stock
to use the stock
that
art,
can be,
or you need to
it's
change
possible.
the.
I'm not sure, but if I don't find any stock art that can be used for this, I will have to use public domain. And if I use public domain, things will have to have a different look. But it won't be. It's not supposed to be exactly pulp. It's going to be space opera.
Mhm.
Well, semi space opera. I may eventually do something else from space, from the book itself. It won't be the Stellar Imperium anymore. Actually, I might even use some of the references, uh, depending on what that game that's still unnamed uh, can be used there. But probably if I adapt space, I'll probably in that case I will use the central setting, the about the main thing there. There's the Wretched Legion. So if I do another space, but I'm not going to do anything like that
Yeah, no, not now.
now because that's too much space. I'm not sure what I'm going to do next, but now we have plans
So
for
you
two
have,
things.
yes, and you have, we have darker remasters to come out. We are waiting
Yes,
for art, and
I
we
think
have
it will be
MicroRed.
soon
We are
because
waiting for art.
Chris is almost finished with the comics for Darker. I've reviewed it and edited everything, so I just need to apply there the 8 pages of comics, and then I release it. Of course, the book, the print book, will be out of print for a while until I receive the proof copy, and so at least 2 3 weeks. And after that, because we are also expecting some comic book pages. In that case, they are already made. That he just needs Chris just needs to redo some of the
Uh,
characters and the text because
the text was going to say that. The text.
yeah, I think yes to erase some stuff and change the text because it made references to the characters. So this was from the web comic. The first part of the web comic was already included in New Flash, but the second part of the comic, I think it's better than the first one. Uh, but there are references there to the characters that
Mm-hmm.
travel in time, and I
From New
don't want that
Flash
for the
that
web comic.
can't. Yeah.
That's not. This is not Ratchet anymore. So if it was Ratchet, there would be no problem. There could be a reference, but in this case, no. So it has to be slightly changed, so there are no references to those characters. So next MicroRed thing will be Voidhaven Outpost. Then that Roger C. Jones game, still unnamed, I think. Well, maybe we can use the name of the campaign. I don't know. I'm not going to mention that yet. And I have another. I haven't talked to you about this, but I was thinking about perhaps I'm going to do the same that I did with Darker, but with Gothic. And perhaps I will try to update and also include a comic there.
Mm-hmm.
Trying so eventually all the red games, or at least these red
Would
games,
have
will.
a comic. Okay. Do you understand that you are making people that buy the books in paper hate you?
Mm, well, not necessarily because it makes no difference having a comic or not. The original one
Yeah.
is still there,
Yeah.
so
It's just for the comic, then yes.
yes. Well, there were, of course, I'm going to do some more changes, but mostly what I was thinking about was replacing the AI art with
Mm-hmm.
human art. So the people who purchased the first one, I think that they don't dislike AI because they purchased it. I'm just trying to open it a little bit more for some people that don't like AI but don't hate us because of
Mm-hmm.
it. And it's possible that I can find illustrations for this because it's
Well, time period, yes, you can find public domain.
public domain. I'll take a
And
look
black
at.
and white, the entire book. So
Sorry, I didn't.
the book is black and white also, which makes it
Yes,
easier.
it's easier. I'll take a look at Nuelo Games, their stock art.
Mhm.
I'm sure they have something there for us. Or I already have some stuff that I could use,
Mhm.
and public domain and stock art, usual regular stock art. There may be some stuff there that I can use. That will take some time. It's a challenge to replace the AI art with human made, and
Mhm.
maybe I can also use some things that were also made for us after that. Um, and definitely a comic book, little comic to introduce before
Mhm.
I left.
I
Of
like
course,
that. That's yeah.
yeah, I think I didn't plan it before, so that's why I have to go back to those books. That wasn't planned. It was I only
Nothing is planned. We don't
not
plan.
we never planned. So, but I think that it's a nice touch that all red games have a comic book introduction, and that way the pundit will not say that we are writing fluff
Mhm.
and putting it. So it's better to have a comic book introduction than fluff introduction, and it gives the same. It has the same purpose. It introduces the style and the ambience of that game without bad bad fiction. Okay, I think this is
So that okay, let's end our
streaming.
accidental
It
stream.
wasn't supposed to be streaming. And I'm sorry there are no cocktails. I'll probably drink a
Well,
cocktail
we're not
later.
going to share them with you anyway if there were.
Well, but we could show them. Well, if I knew that we were going to stream, I would have made a cocktail. Now I feel the need to drink one.
That's an excuse.
Yeah, that's an excuse. Okay, so
Bye
bye bye,
bye.
and thanks for watching.